air conditioning on this 1998 Mercedes S500. Now this came from an era and a class of cars that had multiple air conditioning problems even while they were under warranty, and they were literally failing a lot right after the 3-year warranty. Several $1,000s in repair bills on your air conditioning because the evaporators were leaking. Some of them had the O-rings leak at the expansion valve. Other earlier ones, if you take a look at this receiver dryer right here, let's see if you can see my laser. Can you see, is my laser dying? Come on, there. I don't know if you can see the, yeah, I see the laser pointing the screen. So that's the receiver dryer, those are the switches. The earlier model, they tried to put a big sight glass on there. And I mean a big sight glass. A sight glass the size that you've never seen before because they cracked. And so what they didn't compensate for was the high side pressure. And when you increase the diameter of something, you increase how many square inches of pressure will be pushing up on it. And so they did not make the glass thicker. They just made it bigger. And so the lenses were cracking on them. And so their replacement dryers came without the sight glass. It was a nice sight glass, but just a bad idea. They just, you know, there was no engineer involved when it was designed. Or a proper engineer. Let's say an engineer who had a piece of paper, and typical for automotive. Toilet paper engineer, toilet paper degree I call them. So the fans are cycling on at 220 psi. It has a thermal fluid fan clutch. I've had this running for 15-20 minutes now. Even when I kill the fans and try to drive the head pressure up and the temperature up, the fluid, the thermal device inside the fluid driven clutch is not engaging, and that fan is never kicking in with engine speed even though it gets hot. So we have 46 degrees coming out of the dash right now, 77 degrees return air. Our outside air temperature is, where do I have that? 120 something. Let's see, I don't have, oh, I have the bulb right there. So some hot engine air is rolling around this way, making this 120 some degrees. So let's take this way out here and put it right about there, and let's see what this temperature is. So now I have the thermistor right there. Fans are running, and we drop down to 81 degrees. But actually the real outside temperature is only 60 some degrees. It's bright and sunny, but you're just getting roll around heat in this area that is given off by this engine that's coming up from under the car, coming over the car, and just kind of swirling around and staying in the area. That temperature is not the real true temperature, because when a breeze comes by, it's much cooler. So I'm about to perform a recovery. The complaint is it doesn't cool very well. What you could see, it's 46 degrees and it's sitting in the sun. And there it is, 46 degrees. Now, these had a problem with leaking evaporators. They had a problem with that leaking sight glass from the earlier models, if it hasn't been retrofitted over with a later receiver. They had a problem with this high side fitting would develop a crack right in the fitting that screws into the condenser. Somewhere around this year, but definitely that style right there, it was a factory defect. They had a defect where their blend air doors, when they got old, they would not quite shuffle between the hot and cold and the heater core, and you could have good working air conditioning but have kind of warm air coming out of the dash because they had problems with their controls. This only has 26,000 miles on it, so it's a low mileage vehicle in good condition. This is one of those vehicles, if they don't have floor mats in them, you don't have floor mats. When you put your feet in here and you're a mechanic, don't let your toes scrape along here and put black marks from the tip of your work boots with grease on them. You only touch the pedals, and you do not let, those are not from my feet, those are 2 little black marks. You don't even let the heels of your shoe touch the customer's floor mat. Put a floor mat in here. If you don't, be careful. Take their floor mat out, flip it over, do whatever you have. But when you get into customers' cars like that, I take these gloves off, so I have these gloves on when I touch anything in there. Let's see. I went through leak checking it with the leak detector. I'm going to pull, and as you can see, there's condensation. there's condensation here, and he says it's kind of a weak air conditioning system. He says it's not too cold. And I got 49 degrees here. I got 46 degrees coming out of the dash. So let's recover and let's see how much refrigerant is in this vehicle. And it's factory charge. I got to see if this dual or single air conditioning system on here. Let's see what comes out, because we either have 1,150 grams or 1,250 grams, depending on the year. You can see this is a 170 chassis. Oh no, they don't go by chassis on here. Yeah, they just give you, it's either a dual or a single evap one. I am by no means a Mercedes expert, that's for sure, but these gave me a lot of work, these earlier. The ones that really had the leaking evaporators, if you look at this one, this is a single piece of glass. Now, not everybody knows this, but let's see if I can go down. Is this single or dual? Nope, this is a dual one. Fooled me. It's been so long since I see these. It's two pieces of glass with air in between it. These models, and some certain years, were having evaporator cores leaking left and right. They're a huge money maker, because right out of warranty, and even in warranty, it was guaranteed. When one of these cars came to me, especially if it was the second or third time from shops,